Hi, tonight from Groovy Entertainment. Today we have no book on tape to play for you. Today's book is Thumbelina for 1994, so let's get started.
Hello. Are you ready to read all the stories in your storybook set? Good. Let's start off with the exciting adventures of Thumbelina, no bigger than your thumb, as she tries to save the village of the little people. Have you got your Thumbelina book? Then let's begin on page 1.
This is the story of Thumbelina. You can read along with me in your book. It's time to turn the page when you hear this sound. Let's begin now. Once, long ago, there was a tiny girl no bigger than your thumb. She was as sweet and lovely as a spring morning, and her name was Thumbelina. Every day she would dance and play among the flowers, and every night she slept among the petals of a tulip. One night, while she slept, an ugly old frog came hopping up from the stream. The frog saw Thumbelina sleeping and thought to herself,
What have we here? I see a perfect little wife for my son. He's too foolish and lazy to get his own wife. This way, he'll be married and I'll get him off my lily pad. It's high time he had a pad of his own.
The old frog carried the sleeping Thumbelina away down into the stream and left her alone on a large leaf in the middle of the swirling water. Then she swam off to get her foolish son. Thumbelina awoke to find herself trapped. But before she could even cry out, the old frog and her son swam up to the frightened girl.
So, you're awake. Good. You can meet my son, your future husband.
The old frog said.
I'm sure you'll make him happy. And in return, he'll bring you all the flies you can eat.
But I don't eat flies, and I don't want to marry your son,
Cried Thumbelina. The old frog croaked.
Silence! You will marry my son, and you'll eat flies and like it.
Then she turned and swam away, her lazy son behind her. Thumbelina sat down on the broad leaf and began to cry. Just then, two little fish, who were swimming nearby, came to her and said,
Don't worry, little one. We won't let that nasty old frog keep you here. She's always trying to boss everyone around. We'll help you.
They dove down below the leaf and began to chew on the thick stem. Soon they gnawed clean through, and the pad began to float downstream.
Farewell, Thumbelina.
The fish called.
We'll give your regrets to the frogs.
Thumbelina waved as she floated off with the current. Before long, the stream widened out and flowed between thick groves of pretty trees. Many birds flew overhead, and their songs filled the air. One swallow flew close to her and sang prettier than all the others. Thumbelina sang with the gentle bird and laughed as he flew loops through the branches. After a time, the lily pad bumped against the shore, and Thumbelina jumped off into the grass.
Thank you for your song, Swallow.
Called Thumbelina.
Will you stay with me and sing tomorrow?
No, I can't.
The bird replied.
My friends and I have to fly south before the winter snow comes. We cannot stand the cold, and it is far to the warm lands.
And then he flew off until he was only a tiny speck in the sky. Thumbelina wandered for many days, until one morning she awoke to find snow had fallen while she slept. The once green grass was wearing a cold blanket of white, and the chill wind reached into her bones as she walked. Before long, the snow was so deep and the cold so terrible she thought she would surely freeze. Just when she couldn't take another step, Thumbelina saw a tiny door hidden in the roots of a willow tree. With the last of her strength, she stumbled to the door and pushed it open. Inside, a little mouse wearing a brown and white checked apron was stirring a kettle over a fire. The mouse turned to see Thumbelina fall to the floor, nearly frozen.
Why, you're chilled to the bone, child.
Mrs. Field Mouse said, rushing over to the fallen girl.
Come in, come in.
She took Thumbelina and laid her in a warm bed and covered her with a soft blanket made of woven grass. When Thumbelina woke, the little mouse came to her side.
Well, my dear,
Said Mrs. Field Mouse.
I see you feel better. The winter is hard this year. Outside is no place for a child like you. You'll have to stay here until the snow melts. I'll feed you and keep you warm. All I want in return is for you to keep my house neat and sing pretty songs, for I am lonely.
So it went through the winter. Then, one day, Mrs. Field Mouse told her to expect a visitor. It was Mr. Mole, her neighbor.
Now, child, you must be very nice to Mr. Mole. He is very old and very rich.
Mr. Mole was also ugly and mean and complained all the time. But when Thumbelina sang to him, he stopped his complaining and smiled a crooked smile. In an instant, he had fallen in love with her. Mr. Mole wanted Thumbelina for his wife. He promised Mrs. Field Mouse he would keep her pantry full every winter if she would help him. She thought it over, then agreed. One day, Mrs. Field Mouse said,
Come along, Thumbelina. We must go see Mr. Mole's fine house today.
She led Thumbelina through a dark, damp tunnel the mole had dug connecting his house to the little mouse house. Along the way, they came upon a bird that lay still and cold.
This bird looks like the one who shared my song before the snow came.
Thumbelina said,
But it could not be. He flew south to the warm lands with his friends.
When she stroked the bird, she felt a faint heartbeat. But before she could help, Mrs. Field Mouse took her hand and pulled her along the tunnel. The old mouse dragged Thumbelina by her arm until she cried.
What? You don't like this beautiful tunnel, child?
Laughed Mrs. Field Mouse.
Well, you better get used to it. You and Mr. Mole will spend all your time down here once you are married.
She laughed and rushed on with the frightened girl. At once, Thumbelina realized what Mr. Mole and Mrs. Field Mouse had been planning.
Married?
Thought Thumbelina.
I wouldn't marry him if he was the last creature on earth.
Finally, they reached the mole's damp, dark house. While Mrs. Field Mouse and Mr. Mole made grand plans for the wedding, Thumbelina made plans of her own. She decided to run away. When the two went out to hire spiders to weave a wedding dress, Thumbelina ran swiftly back through the dark tunnel to the frozen swallow. She hugged the cold bird and stared into its face. Thumbelina realized that it really was the same swallow that had sung so sweetly to her as she floated down the stream.
Oh, dear Swallow, what has happened to you?
Her warm tears fell on the swallow's cold face. Just then, the bird's eyes opened, and he said,
You saved me. I tried to catch up to my friends flying south, but it began to snow and my wings froze. I fell into a hole in the snow. That's all I remember.
Thumbelina quickly told the swallow all that had happened to her.
And now, that nasty old mole wants to make me his wife and keep me here underground. I can't stay here. I must escape.
The swallow checked his wings carefully. When he seemed satisfied he was all right, he began pecking a hole in the roof of the tunnel. Soon, light began streaming through from outside. Suddenly, shouting could be heard from far down the tunnel. It was Mr. Mole and Mrs. Field Mouse coming for Thumbelina.
Hurry, Thumbelina, climb on my back.
The bird said. Thumbelina jumped onto his soft feathered back, and the two pushed through the hole. The swallow soared off into the sky just as Mr. Mole popped his ugly head out of the hole. He was too late. Thumbelina held on tightly as the swallow flew away south. After a very long way, they reached the warm lands, and the swallow landed in a field full of beautiful flowers. Thumbelina looked around her. The air smelled sweet and clean, and the tiny girl was amazed to see many other tiny men and women coming out of the flowers to greet her. One had a crown of gold on his head, and he spoke to her. It was the Prince of Flowers.
Welcome, Thumbelina. We welcome you,
he said. The prince thought Thumbelina beautiful and instantly fell in love with her. He knelt and asked her to be his bride. And this time, she said,
Yes.
Now that you've finished reading about Thumbelina, get out your Pocahontas book. Pocahontas was a real American Indian.
Okay, so that was Thumbelina from 1994. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a groovy day. And our next book will be Pocahontas.